Yo, what's shaking, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Orange Bloods Texas Football Channel. I'm Geoff Ketchum. That is Anwar Richardson. We're talking Texas defensive grades today, position by position. What grades do we give the entire defense? We did the offense earlier in the week, and it was such a doozy of a video. I still have tears in my eyes from laughing from it 10 minutes ago. Well, less than that when we recorded it. Do us a solid. Like button, subscribe button, notification button. Do those three things, and that would really make our day. I literally have a counter up on my screen at all times as I watch our YouTube station grow. Anwar, we'll start. Do we do the entire defensive line as a group? It feels like it doesn't feel like we can go defensive ends, defensive tackles. It's not in fact, with Alfred Collins now kind of being the official edge end, they're really just playing a bunch of big old dudes up front anyway. So if we start with the defensive line, I haven't given this a ton of thought yet. It's not an easy group to grade, frankly.
It's a tough group to grade, Ketch, because, I think you look. I think it's tough in some ways from a statistical standpoint, but, kind of one of the things you talked about was the eye test standpoint as well. And, we can't ignore that from a run stopping perspective. There's different layers to it. But the design of this defense is to have the big guys kind of clog it up a little bit, maybe make it a little bit easier for the linebackers. And so, there's some things, but they're not getting home to the quarterback consistently, especially from a defensive line perspective. And teams have been able to run against this defense. This is the 8th ranked rushing defense in the Big 12 right now, Ketch. And as far as sacks are concerned, I mean, Texas is 6th in the conference as far as sacks is concerned. So, they
can't rush the passer. And they can't stop the run. But other than that, how was the play?
But there's so many areas of it. I would probably start, and I'm going to start with C. And I can be swayed either way.
Thing is, in my head, even though it was a completely different video that the folks might have watched a couple of days ago here on the YouTube channel, when we did the offensive line, we debated C+ or C with the offensive line, and we ended up giving the offensive line a C. But that's because they can't pass block, but they have the nation's number, the Big 12's number one running game. And the defensive line doesn't have that, right? Like the offensive line can at least say, don't crush us because statistically we're doing this. Now, is that Bijan Robinson? Like, do they have that added weapon that the defense doesn't have? Yes. I gotta go C- for the defensive line if we're gonna go C for the offensive line, because at least the offensive line legitimately has something that they can hang its hat on. And this is a defensive line right now that doesn't. In fact, it does. Other than Alfred Collins now at edge end, boy, it feels like they've had a tough time figuring out who should be on the field. Devondre Sweat has shown flashes. Keandre Coburn has had some moments. Byron Murphy, right? But I mean, boy, all you need to know about this group is that Ray Thornton is second on the team in tackles for loss for the season. He had 1 going into Saturday's game against Oklahoma State. 1. He made 3 in the game against Oklahoma State, and he vaulted into second place, best among the defensive line. So I can't, in good faith, give the defensive line a better or even grade to the offensive line, simply because I tried to give the offensive line a C+ because the run game statistically is so good. Nothing is statistically good about this group. So I'm going to go C- for the reason of I can't say that they're exactly even with the offensive line.
Okay, that's fair. Linebackers, is that next?
Linebackers, yes. Feels like there's a DeMarvion Overshown grade and then a grade for everybody else.
It kind of almost reminds me of Ketch when we did the previous video, the conversation about receivers.
Yep, I was about to say that.
You know, where we were just like, yes, Xavier Worthy is A+, Jordan Whittington B+ to an A, and then we have to factor in there like everyone else. And
well, real quick, let's do this. What's your DeMarvion Overshown grade?
A.
Because I think let's just we'll attack it the same way we did receiver.
A.
Overshown gets an A.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
Luke Brockermeyer.
Ooh.
I know we didn't want to necessarily give players grades, but this is a 3-person grade, basically.
You know, here's the crazy thing. Luke Brockermeyer, from a statistical standpoint, Ketch, is 4th in the Big 12 in tackles.
Leads the team in tackles for loss with 5.
Yes.
Has an interception this season.
Yeah. Now, are teams trying to go at him? Absolutely. But I think anything, I feel like he's a solid B. I mean, I think I can talk myself into a solid B for Brockermeyer. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Now, there's been some missed tackles for sure. So, you know, we don't have a missed tackle stat, and maybe the missed tackle stat, if we had that, knocks it a little lower. I probably would put Luke somewhere in a B to B- area, Ketch. I'm not quite sure what your grade is.
He's a C for me. I think he's a starter that needs replacing.
Okay.
Ovio Gofu. Kind of a B- for me. I'll go first in the sense that even on Saturday, he played more on Saturday and he was productive. I mean, he has been their most consistent get to the quarterback guy. And that's not saying a lot. He's not getting there every week, but he's got to the quarterback. He's made some plays. I wouldn't say he's a standout player, but I would say that he's been better than average slightly. So I'll go B-. If you wanted to say C+, I could go for that. But I think he's been okay. I don't look to replace him as quickly as I look to replace Luke Brockermeyer, but I have not seen from either of those guys ability that makes me think either one definitely plays it on Sunday. And so, you know, I mean, I think at the end of the day, Overshown gets an A because he plays like a guy that's going to play on Sunday. And it's hard for me to give anybody else at linebacker that kind of grade at this point. You can see why the coaches went crazy with linebacker transfers in the offseason. They felt like that group needed a pick-me-up. But the reality is they haven't gotten a huge pick-me-up out of that group, even if they're getting a lot of play from their transfers. Ogofu plays a lot. Ben Davis is the backup there. But Devin Richardson hasn't played. And again, Brockermeyer is a guy who's productive in this defense, but I wouldn't say he's good. The stats, look, I can't argue that the stats are pretty impressive, but I've seen a lot of bad defenses over the years at Texas where a guy at the end of the year has 100 tackles. That doesn't mean he played well.
It's fair.
It just means that he was in a position where he had to make tackles a lot. And, you know, teams are picking on Brockermeyer now. So I guess on the whole, I'll give the defense, the linebacker position, a B- because of Overshown's presence. If you took him out of the equation, I would give the linebackers a D.
Okay, that's fair. There's nothing I can even argue with as far as that is concerned. And like I said, I'm not the linebacker one. I can be swayed kind of either way on that one. And
it's statistically a bad defense.
I mean, they're 8th in the Big 12, right?
And that's a good number for them compared to their run defense.
Yeah.
So
and they were 9th up until last week.
So let's move to the secondary. By the way, apologies in advance for making you guys want to drink during this video. And and or any other vices. You know, if you want to stop and pause the video and go to Rogue Apothecary right now and like hook it up, we totally understand. Anwar, what do we do with the secondary?
We have us sued for some kind of mental anguish.
I know. I watched Ketch and Anwar do the defensive grades, and God, it feels like as many years as you've been here, it feels like these conversations around the defense just are never good.
Yeah.
You've been around for some atrocious defenses. Secondary. Can I give a stat real quick?
Yes, go for it.
They're worst in the country in defending passes 20 plus yards down the field.
Wow.
Now, but I feel like other than that, they've been pretty good. And I know that sounds crazy, but like I think Deshaun Jameson's been pretty good this year. I think Josh Thompson's been pretty good this year. I think, you know, I think the corners have been okay, but man, they've given up big plays. That's just been their Achilles heel. I don't feel like they're the problem in the run game. You know, BJ Foster, they've missed tackles. And they've had some bad games, I suppose, on the missed tackle front. But when I think about what ails the run defense, I don't really find myself nitpicking I don't think BJ Foster needs to be 10 times better in run defense. Matter of fact, I think he's had a pretty good year. I think that other safety spot is completely uneven. I don't know. It's a really hard one for me to grade. It's like tight ends in a way.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm looking up the long scrimmage plays. Texas is ranked 9th in the Big 12 as far as giving opponents long scrimmage plays. You know, we're talking about 9 plays so far over 40 yards, 5 over 50, 4 over 60, 1 over 70. So there's definitely some breakdowns there that are occurring.
They're the anti-Longhorns Anwar. Texas can't throw the ball deep consistently well, and other teams are like, screw throwing the short ball against this team. We got to heave it down the field, and there are mistakes to be made, and that has been the truth. And I think the safety play and coverage has been way worse than the corner play. Even if the corner play hasn't been all-American level.
The question is,
I'm going to go C+ with the secondary.
I mean, the thing I got to give the secondary a little bit of a little leeway with, I don't feel like there's enough going on up front that I feel like they're handicapped on so many plays.
That's fair.
You know, like
it's like the quarterbacks with the offensive line. How do we judge the quarterbacks when they can't get protection? How do we judge corners when there's no pass rush?
Correct. And it's 7 Mississippi, you know, and if the guy still hasn't gotten rid of the ball, you know, like I said, you want to look at, you know, BJ Foster, that happened to you. Like, dude, it's 7 seconds. Like, he's like, what the hell's going on? Like, how long am I supposed to cover this guy? Like, you know,
the play went so long, I just assumed the ref blew his whistle and I just didn't hear it.
So I've got to give them a little bit of a little bit of a pass, even though we've seen certain things. The problem is things have happened in the second half, you know, with this team, and that's kind of a, you know, issue. I'm probably a solid C with this group, to be quite honest with you, only because I gotta grade them on a curve a little bit.
But didn't I say C+?
Did you say C+? I thought you said C-.
I said C+.
Oh, okay. I thought you said C-.
You just gave them a worse grade than I did.
No. I can't. Then I'm gonna give them a C+. It's hard to catch. I mean, when the defense has struggled the way this defense has struggled, and we've seen what has happened in the last quarter and a half of the past 2 games where teams have just unloaded on this defense. I mean, you know, I get, you know, Caleb Williams is special, right? So you've got to give some props to Caleb, right? He's a special dude. I don't think we put Spencer Sanders in that category though. So, you know, and this is a defense that.
But they played well against. I mean, C plus.
I'll go with C plus. I think C plus is more than
me into B minus. You could, for the sole reason that how much if they had a pass rush in front of them, because I feel like individually these dudes are going to play on Sundays, and there's not a guy in the secondary other than that second safety. It's just all season long, whether it's Jaron Thompson or Brendan Schooler, it just feels like they haven't figured that out. But man, I'm not calling for BJ Foster to lose his job, really. And I certainly haven't looked at Deshaun Jameson or Josh Thompson or Darian Dunn and been like, those dudes need to play less. So I feel like individually, those guys are playing better. And they're like, I feel like there are other positions where I think Texas needs, I don't think they have an upgrade over Luke Brockermeyer on the roster unless Jalen Ford is a guy that they want to start giving more reps to after the game that he had against Oklahoma State. But there's nobody on that secondary that I'm like, put this guy in because the other guy's not playing well. I think their individual parts are better than the sum of their parts. I'm going to go B minus. I'm going to say they're playing better than C-level football, and what's happening in front of them at the two layers in front of them is a bigger problem than their individual play.
Again, fair. You know, I think there are guys who will play on Sunday. It's like they may be like, who's the guy that was the defensive back here that's with the Vikings?
Chris Boyd was.
Boyd. Yes, Boyd. That's what I'm thinking of Boyd. Okay. Maybe a situation where you look at it, you're like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden to get to the NFL, you're like, holy crap, this guy was like really good. And it makes a difference when you actually, again. So, I mean.
And plus Anthony Cook's been an A.
Anthony Cook has been a baller.
We haven't said his name, but again, all of those guys, I'm pretty you know what? As bad as the defense is as a whole, and as bad as that, again, the stat that I saw is the Texas secondary is the worst team in the country in terms of quarterback efficiency rating against pass plays of 20 yards or more. So they got to play better, but there's nobody in that secondary other than that other safety spot where I feel like they need to make a change. In fact, Anwar, you and I have done podcasts this week where we've talked about, God, they lose a lot of guys in the secondary next year. We look at losing Jameson, losing Thompson, losing Dunn, losing Foster. We're looking at that as like, that's a problem that they're going to have to address. We're not like, well, when those guys graduate, they can get some better dudes in there. So yeah, I'm going to go B minus. And real quickly, punting, A plus, right?
Yes.
I mean, best in the history of the school, I think, at this point.
Correct.
Based on average yards per punt. What about place kicking? We didn't do that with the offense.
What is Dicker's number?
I think he's 7 of 10.
Is he 7 of 10?
He's like in the middle of the conference. It's like a C for me. C plus. He's better than average, but he hasn't been good. But
yeah, he's 6. He's 6 in the conference right now. Yeah, he's 6 in the conference. He has 10 attempts. He's made 8 of them.
8 out of 10?
He's 8 out of 10.
Well, then I'll give him a B minus.
Yeah, I'll give him a B minus too. Because what I don't have in front of me, Ketch, and I'd have to check. I'd have to see what the misses were from also.
I'm gonna go for Dicker, A plus punting, A for kickoffs, B minus for field goals. He should feel really good about those grades. That's actually pretty exceptional.
Okay, all right. So he missed an attempt over 50 yards, and he is 2 for 3 between 40 and 49.
So he's missed one kick all year inside of 50.
Correct.
I'll give him a B. It keeps going up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's made all his
messing up. He's not getting a lot of opportunities, but he's not messing up either.
He's made all of his extra points. We just jinxed him, but he's 34 for extra points. His longest field goal is 49 yards. He missed 1 plus 50. Now I'm gonna.
Baylor's gonna block a punt on War, and he's gonna miss a field goal, and he's gonna kick it a kickoff out of bounds against Baylor because we have absolutely jinxed him this week.
We absolutely jinxed him. I'm gonna give him an A-. Anything
for field goals?
Yes. Anything
Fine.
plus 50 is amazing.
Hey, I'm not gonna fight you. So we're going. I'm A-, A, and A+.
Yes.
So he is the third best player on this team.
Yeah.
Once you get beyond Bijan and Xavier, and maybe I guess DeMarvion Overshown.
Yes. When you start handing out attaboys, he's got to be high. He's got to be in your top 5.
You could actually make a case for him over Overshown. Again, he's doing 3 things, 3 wildly different things. Punting's about defense. Field goals are about offense. Kickoffs are about special teams. So he's involved in all 3 phases and an A level in all of them. I'm sorry, Cameron. I'm sorry, dude, because you have had your name mentioned now multiple times this week in videos that we've done on this channel, and we are clearly going to mess you up. And when it happens,
yeah,
I'm just acknowledging it now that we're doing this to you, but we're doing it because you think you've had a great season so far, and we have to run the risk of jinxing you to give you the props that you deserve. Simple as that.
Here's the good part, though. On the reverse, from the defensive standpoint, if they want to reverse jinx it, they should be balling out, because then they could be like, screw those guys. And the next thing you know, that they should be monsters at the midway from here on out. So we jinx one, but a reverse jinx for the defense.
When they use the 5 games of film left this season to all make NFL rosters, send us a gift certificate for something, for Rogue. Send us a Rogue Apothecary gift certificate, and we will appreciate it. Hey, look, we'll wrap things up. To recap, we went defensive line C-. What did we do with them?
I think we were at a solid C.
No, because we gave the offensive line a C.
Okay, so we went C- there.
We went C-. We went linebackers B-, right? Or was it lower?
I stopped writing it down. I'll be honest with you.
Everyone else you guys all heard it. Look, like the video. Don't subscribe for our short-term memories. And we'll see you again later on this week. You guys take care of each other. Later.